And it's showtime.
We are live.
Hi, guys. It's Charlotte.
And Jess, I gotta say my name.
I know.
A year of you introducing us, and I finally got to say Jess.
I know. That's hilarious.
I know.
So,
Isn't that silly? I think about that every time. I'm
I
like,
know.
she's gonna say my name. You always say Charlotte and Jess, and so
It's funny that this time it just felt right.
it felt right. Well, I did some calculation with math. Usually isn't my forte, and everyone knows that.
Neither.
But last year, out of 2020, we have done officially. Well, now will be 50 virtual wine tastings.
That's crazy.
It would have been 52, but we had a closure for 316, so it would have been the first closure for
That's
COVID.
crazy. Oh my
we
gosh.
canceled the wine tasting that week, just as
So it's been a full year.
a full year. And then the only other cancellation of the entire year was good old Sally O'Malley, Hurricane
Oh my
Sally.
God. Okay. So between COVID and Sally, we've closed twice. We've closed
Two times
this year. So thank you guys for joining us. We are at Aragon Wine Market in Pensacola, Florida. Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, Carol, great to see you today too.
Absolutely.
I will never forget that you have faith in my dog, and I hope you're right. So spring has sprung.
Yes.
It's beautiful. The courtyard is. So we're gonna do a whole new updo with the courtyard. I'm gonna put a butterfly garden out there,
wow.
and you guys think the courtyard looks pretty now, and it does. It's gonna be even prettier come this spring because
I can't wait
it's
to
time.
see.
It's time. So if you have your special event, I think we've got some special events coming up.
We do.
That people are booking. So
Any number of different things between couples tastings for birthdays or anniversaries. We've also got a family Easter wine tasting in the works right now. Milkweed, that's right. And butterflies.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Mary Jean. A couple of other little small events coming up, and then some community events that hopefully will come to fruition for the fall and further down the road. But we're excited.
Well, that goes into our big announcement that you may have missed last week. I don't know, or maybe you're hearing it again for the second time. But April 1st will be our first in-store wine tasting.
That's so exciting.
It's going to be in the courtyard, our beautiful courtyard. We will not have. It may be under construction. So we'll see how it looks, but it will be outside. We're excited to have everybody back in the store. Michael Fix will be joining us for our first in-store, in courtyard tasting. So all of y'all that got to see him on the virtual wine tastings can say thank you and hello to him.
Live and in the flesh.
And live and in the flesh. So that'll be fun. We will still be under, as far as we know, a mask mandate. So we'll ask you guys to, if you're in the store or if you're not sampling the wines, to bring your mask because we will still be wearing our mask around at this point. But the good news is we will be seeing you here.
Absolutely.
Live as opposed to live.
That's right. So what does that look like? I guess for some of our viewers that may have not seen that in the last year, we're certainly excited to see some of our familiar faces. But for those of you that never got to enjoy a in-store, because I only got to enjoy one in-store tasting.
It's crazy.
I know. I've been here a year. Just had my 1 year anniversary, so that was fun. But I only got to experience one in-store tasting before we shut down for COVID. So how that works is on Thursday, April 1st, we're going to see your beautiful faces behind the mask before we start tasting, but certainly see them fully once we get going from 5 to 7 p.m.
Yep. 5 to 7 every Thursday.
Yep.
We usually do 5 or 6 different wines, some whites, maybe a rosé, and some reds. Michael Fix will be joining us on April 1st in the courtyard, and he'll be able to answer all your questions in person, tell you about each of the wines before you sample them. And that is hopefully going to be the way we continue to go back to some sort of normalcy.
It's complimentary.
It is complimentary.
tasting glasses.
Yeah.
And then if you find something that you really enjoyed in the flight of tasting, certainly can buy it and open it in the store. Or if you want to open another bottle,
yeah, we
do a corkage fee.
We do waive our corkage fee on the Thursday wine tasting night. So normally we have a nominal corkage fee. If you want to grab anything off the shelf, you're welcome to do that and join us for a $5 corkage fee, which is nothing, but we do waive that corkage fee on Thursday night.
I am so excited.
I know. I'm
it's
excited
going to be
too.
Wonderful to see everyone back in the store, and I know it'll be a great opportunity to explore some wines. I think that's been the best thing about these virtual tastings for me, is that I've been able to really dive in each week.
Yeah.
And absorb these beautiful wines.
It's so much, and
it's
so we do too here. For to be doing 5 or 6, you learn so much.
Yeah.
I will say that keep your fingers crossed that we're continuing to do that, because if it's uncomfortable in any way, we will go back to these. But and the other thing is that yes, it's on you. The other thing is that we do love these virtual tastings, so we are going to try and figure out a way to maybe once a month do some sort of form of this virtual tasting.
Absolutely.
Obviously, probably not on a Thursday, because we'll all be busy doing this, but maybe another night of the week we'll do these, because we've really appreciated all the people that have been participating in them, the winemakers, the people in the trade,
our customers. Thank you for supporting us in this last year and supporting this platform. We wanted to still be able to continue the opportunity to share these beautiful wines from all over the world with you as as your neighborhood market. And so to have the opportunity that you guys supported us so well in this last year, and continue to buy it, But on top of that, the education component has been so cool. Mm-hmm. It's been a really great way to share some specs on the wines and get into a depth that you're not going to have when you've got a flow of a tasting of a bunch of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
It's a wonderful,
it's a great social
direct
event
conversation.
But this is more in depth.
Definitely.
So we'll continue that. So how this works tonight,
that's right,
is that hopefully you've got your bottle of Henri Bourgeois. We're doing the rosé and the Cab Franc tonight. At the end of the show tonight, we will tell you what wines we're doing for our last scheduled virtual wine tasting. We may see that again. We'll try and hopefully do that again, but at the end of this, we'll let you know what we're doing for next week. So I have a personal connection with Henri Bourgeois. I used to live in Sancerre, which is where Henri Bourgeois is located, and they are the winery in Sancerre. My friend Ziggy Bourgeois and Arnaud, her husband, and their kids, and it's a family-run. It's a family-run winery. They've been around forever.
For 10 generations. Family Bourgeois has been around 10 generations. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, so it's in my heart.
Yeah,
so I love them so much, and so let's add in Laurent, who is with the winery. Hi.
Hello, Charlotte. Hello, Jess. It's good to see you
Thank you so much
again.
For joining us.
Talking about how much we love Henri Bourgeois so much.
Thank you, and we love you too. We love you too. And
yes, and I'm gonna bring in Michael Fix.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Michael.
So
great to see you, Laurent.
Likewise.
Laurent, how long have you been part of the Henri Bourgeois family? I feel like I'm part of their family as well.
Of course. It's been it's my 10 years anniversary. I've known the Bourgeois for many years because I have been working in the wine business since 2000 basically. And I was always in the Loire Valley. So when you're from the Loire Valley and you're in the wine business, you know the Bourgeois. You have to meet them at some point. And it's an iconic producer, of course, and very, very nice people all around. So we probably met in the mid 2000, and I moved here in the US in 2007, and then we started to work together in 2011. So yeah, 10 years
Yeah,
now.
such a beautiful spot. And so I have just a quick question that's kind of off subject. What part of the Loire are you from?
So I'm from the very end of the Loire Valley, the Loire River, so where the river meets the ocean.
Ocean, yeah.
So not the Gulf of Mexico, but the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
So technically, that would be the southern part of Brittany,
Okay.
and it's a port city from where I am
and
from.
known for their crepes.
Very much crepe and ciders, but also muscadet. I'm from Nantes, Saint-Nazaire. So in terms of wine region, it's the closest to the Atlantic Ocean. And the closest appellation would be the muscadet. So around the city of Nantes, which is one of the major cities in France.
Is that where, was muscadet like your first wine that you started drinking?
It was, yes.
Yeah, of course, because it's right there. Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely.
And then, you obviously love Sancerre as well as I do, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, very much so. So it's, I'm here in the US. I'm based here in Atlanta, and I do everything here in North America, so US and Canada. So I oversee all our distributors, all our channel of distribution, and all that. It's Sancerre is a fantastic appellation, and I'm very blessed to work for the leading producer, the ambassador of Sancerre in the world. So it's been a fun to do that for those past few years, and also let's be frank. It's also Sancerre is more and more popular here in the US.
Oh, for sure. I would say. So, I mean, of course, I've loved Sancerre before I owned the wine store because, I would go there so often and friends and family were there. But it's interesting to me to see, I would say, the wine store's been open maybe 13 years. And I would say in the last 2, maybe 3, people specifically come in and say, do you have Sancerre? And
probably because of Michael, when he started to.
Well, too, also, it's worth noting, I think people were getting a little bit, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this way with Laurent on here, but I think people were kind of reverting back to a French style Sauvignon Blanc as opposed to, I think, some of the New Zealand styles, although Henri Bourgeois, of course, does great New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, but it's definitely different from the sort of big grapefruit kind of thing that people were getting hit with. So I think people kind of have kind of pendulum back to French Sauvignon Blanc. And I think that's another reason why Sancerre is, really become very popular. You get a little feedback there, maybe. And also, if Laurent answered anything other than if you love Sancerre as much as I do, that would be a real problem for him. So that's a very leading question, Charlotte.
It's recorded, so you got to be careful.
And also, we're expecting Henri Bourgeois Sancerre next week, is what it looks like for us, because we've been waiting for a little bit. Because with COVID, there's a lot of delays in shipping and things like that. So we're expecting that next week, just in case we have some people listening that are looking for that. Which I know a lot of people are looking for Sancerre.
Thank you for segueing with that, because I was literally going to say Sancerre is so very popular right now.
So it's popular, and in France there's an old saying. I mean, in Sancerre there's an old saying that goes, all the Sancerre are Sauvignon Blanc, but all the Sauvignon Blanc are not Sancerre, and that's really the blessing.
Of course, I've heard that before.
And about a year ago, I was, I had the pleasure to do a virtual tasting with you guys, and we had a blast talking about all the Sancerre that we produced. So that was great. But yes, so we're very blessed. We are producing Sauvignon Blanc in Sancerre, and also as Michael mentioned, we also have a winery in Marlborough. So we produce Sauvignon Blanc in the two most iconic place, wine region for Sauvignon Blanc. So
and that
great.
winery is called Clos Henri.
It is.
So we've got Henri Bourgeois that we're doing tonight, and the one from Marlborough is a Clos Henri. I remember when they were discussing opening the winery. I can't believe it's probably been 15 years since they've been open now.
20. We are celebrating the 20th anniversary this year.
That's crazy. I remember when it was a dream.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. But we do also carry the Clos Henri here in the store if you're ever interested in that too as well. We've got some different things tonight, even though we love our Sancerre. And I see other people love Sancerre. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Absolutely.
But we are doing the something that you don't see a lot of. I was the one thing that when I came back to the States and I was like, why is there no and I want to call it Sancerre Rosé, even though that's not what they call it on the label because it's technically not a rosé from Sancerre, but the rosé from that area, you don't see a lot of those here in the States. You see rosés from many places in France, but not from this area. And so that's the first wine we're doing tonight. I see you have Rosé de Pinot Noir, is what it says on the label.
It is. So after talking about all the Sauvignon Blanc, it's a great transition for tonight tasting, because we thought that it would be nice to taste and offer you guys something different than the Sauvignon Blanc, especially the one we did last time. And in Sancerre, we actually produce and grow two different grapes, not just Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc makes all the Sancerre Blanc, the white Sancerre, but we also grow historically Pinot Noir, one of the most classic varietal in France. And with the Pinot Noir, we make all the reds and the rosé, 100%. So it's very easy in Sancerre. There's only two grapes. Sauvignon Blanc for all the white Sancerre. And that's about 75% of the production of the appellation. And the Pinot Noir makes all the reds and the rosé. And it's about 25%, of course. And the rosé is growing, and surprisingly, because there's more and more demand for rosé wines in the world. But just on a little side note, it's interesting because historically, Sancerre, the production of wines in Sancerre started, around the 4th, 5th century, during the Roman times. Yeah. So it goes way, 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 way back. But until the late 1800, in Sancerre, people were producing mostly Pinot Noir and red wines, mostly. So what happened is that in 1870, the entire vineyards in France were struck by a disease that is called phylloxera. It's a microscopic bug that eats and sting the roots of the vine plant, and it swiped out the entire vineyards in France. And who did we call to the rescue? The American people. Because the people realized back then that the root stock of the vine plant, there are various types of rootstock, and one is called the American rootstock that was developed here in the US. Well, this American rootstock was the bug did not eat that rootstock, so that was the solution, and all the vineyards in France were replanted with the American rootstock, and on it we, how do you say greffage? The greffage,
Cepage?
Graft.
the graft. Thank you, Michael. The graft was made with local French vines, but the rootstock, and to this day, is from American rootstock. So cheers again and thank you, America, for your help. But then where I was going with that is that in Sancerre, in 1870, after everything was gone, about 10, 20 years later, they had to replant everything with the American rootstock, but they decided to replant with mostly Sauvignon Blanc, because it was also a blessing in disguise, because it was the opportunity for the wine producers to test different things and study their terroir, their soils, their subsoils, and they realized by then that Sauvignon Blanc was a great fit. However,
it does. It's such a great fit. And you know, we always say what grows together goes together. And so, I mean, if you are going to get a bottle, and we have some here tonight, even though we're not having Sancerre or Sauvignon Blanc, the goat cheese in Sancerre is legendary.
It is.
I mean, thank you. I think the last time I saw you, which wasn't last time I saw you in person, you brought a croton, and that is like, if you can find a legit Sancerre croton in the States,
you cannot. Sadly, you cannot. It's illegal.
Say Timothy. I can't remember what it is, but I know. Sadly, but there are chances that we hope that we will all get to go to Sancerre. When you go to Sancerre, eat your croton every day.
Definitely. That's the golden rule of Sancerre, for sure.
Yeah, fresh bread, croton.
Exactly. So yes, tonight we thought it would be great to taste some other grapes than the Sauvignon Blanc. So we selected the Pinot Noir for the rosé. And we also produce a little bit of Cap Franc that we will taste later for the red.
So what's funny is that I thought that y'all did, when I first came to Sancerre, I mean, I can't remember how long ago it was. Cap Franc was the first red I tried there. So I thought, oh, it's Cap Franc. That's all they have. I had no idea it was like Pinot Noir was the red grape.
Yeah, the Cap Franc, we'll talk about it a little later, but the Cap Franc come from outside of Sancerre. But tonight, we thought it would be nice to do two different grapes, two different wines, and also to showcase the diversity of the wines from the Loire Valley. Hence my hat tonight, my Loire Valley wine hat.
Perfect.
I'm wearing in honor of my birthplace. So.
So the Pinot Noir, is it grown right in Sancerre, or is it grown in the area of Sancerre?
Just outside, a little bit across the river, in a
by river you mean the Loire?
Yeah, which is called Coteau du Giennois. You don't hear about Coteau du Giennois very much here in the U.S. It's more a local appellation in France, but they have great Pinot Noir. And also to the west of Sancerre, so the valley of the Cher River, one of the main tributary to the Loire Valley. And Charlotte, I wanted to let you know that I have prepared a little bit of a slideshow with some pictures. So,
awesome.
Do you want me to run it and show you some pictures of?
We can do that. That'd be great.
So I'm gonna do the share.
Share
screen. Okay. So share screen. Okay.
You may need to.
Will you allow? Second. Okay. Window.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. I see. Almost there.
Okay,
there you
sounds
go.
good. Oh, I see. It's coming.
You see it?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming. Thanks.
Perfect.
So we have.
so beautiful.
Yeah, just to show you a few pictures, because talking about the Bourgeois family, let's meet them. They are.
There's Arnaud.
Here you go. So Arnaud is right here, and it's the family. I think it was taken about last year. It's a very nice picture, and in the back
gorgeous.
you can see the town of Sancerre.
Yeah.
And
so this is the hilltop town right behind them.
Exactly. That's taken from the top of Chavignol, looking east toward the Sancerre, and right behind Sancerre would be the Loire River.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the granddad. This is Henri Bourgeois.
He died in 85. That wasn't terribly long ago.
Yeah.
Long life.
A long life, and a pioneer of Sancerre.
Yes.
And of course, it gave its name to the winery. His full name was Etienne Henri Bourgeois, but everybody called him Henri. Then his three sons were working with him. So Rémi in the vineyard. Rémi passed away sadly in 2006. Jean-Marie, that you know very well, and Raymond are his three sons, and they are still, Jean-Marie and Raymond are still very active at the domain, although they are officially retired.
Yeah.
And then you have the three grandsons of Henri Bourgeois, who are really running the winery today. Starting in the vineyard with Lionel, who's the vineyard manager. Then you have Jean-Christophe, who's the winemaker.
He's lovely.
He is. And
then Arnaud is my best buddy.
Best buddy of Charlotte.
Yes, Arnaud. I love Arnaud. He's awesome. You guys, I wish we could have him up here too, because he's hilarious. I saw Jean-Marc wasn't on there.
Jean-Marc, no, I need to add Jean-Marc. I'm sorry.
Oh, poor Jean-Marc, the black sheep of the family.
That's the point. There's so many bourgeois, it's hard to fit them all in
but
the.
If you're coming to look for good food, Jean-Marc is who you're going to ask for, right?
Definitely. Jean-Marc is Arnaud's brother, and he owns the hotel and restaurant in Chavignol. Fantastic chef. He has worked for 3 different 3-star Michelin restaurants in France.
In Sancerre. So you're getting Michelin star food at Sancerre prices.
Exactly. Exactly. So what I wanted to do with, because tonight we're going to share and taste 2 of the Petit Bourgeois wines, the Rosé and the Red. So just wanted to give you a little bit of information of background of about what are those wines, and the best way we can describe them is that they are an invitation to the Loire Valley. So that's what we are trying to do with those 2 wines. It's just for people to experience the classic Loire Valley wines. So just wanted to remind everyone and to give a little bit of information about the Loire Valley itself. So the Loire River is the longest river in France. You can see it here on the map. So
you're on the Clos Henri slide.
Am I? I'm sorry. Hold on.
I'll tell you when.
I'm sorry about that.
No,
Let me try again. I'm gonna share again. Share the screen.
Yeah, because it is a beautiful area. If you haven't been to that area, it's not something. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the map.
Do you see the invitation to the Loire Valley slide?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what the Petit Bourgeois, line is about. And just wanted to show people, the Loire River, what it is, the longest river in France. And it starts in the south of France, actually, just north of the Provence, and it goes all the way to the Atlantic coast of France and my hometown of Saint-Nazaire right here.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
Sancerre is right here. And this is the same map, but with the wine region. And as you can see, especially the second half of the Loire Valley is full of different vineyards and wine regions. And this is the close-up. There's many different appellations, many different types of wines.
Just from Loire.
There's about 70 different appellations.
Amazing.
Red, rosé, white, sweet, off-dry, sparkling.
There's so many that people would like go, oh, Chinon, I've seen that before.
Exactly.
Valençay or Quincy, you know.
There's so many.
Yeah, Vouvray.
So it's probably the Loire Valley, the most diverse wine region in the world.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
also, what people don't always realize is that in France, the Loire Valley wines have been the #1 sales in restaurants for 20, 30 years.
Amazing.
It's because, it's really everyday wines for French people. They are very easy to pair with food. They are usually lighter in alcohol. Yes. They are refreshing, and they are also great values.
Right.
French people, we don't drink champagne and expensive Bordeaux every day. So
no.
When you drink, when you're in a bistro in Paris, you order a by the glass wine. Most likely, it's gonna be something from the Loire Valley. Very often. And of course, the Loire River itself is a centerpiece of France as a nation, a country geographically speaking, but also as a nation politically. Because that's where really there's nothing more French than the Loire River. It starts in France, it ends in France, it connects the south, the north, and the west side of France. So it's really a centerpiece of our country. And it's also, as you probably know, home of all the king's castle. So this is one of them. This is Amboise. Amboise, which was partially designed by Leonardo da Vinci. That's where Leonardo da Vinci is buried.
Is this an Angers?
It's right outside of Tours.
Oh.
Just across from Vouvray.
Beautiful.
This is Chambord, another of the most famous castles of France.
Yeah.
Chambord, and all those castles you can visit. They are like national parks.
I want to go.
Me too. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So,
beautiful.
Just a fun fact about Chambord, the one you are looking at right now. It's a prime example of the Renaissance style in France. It was home for François I. It's a masterpiece. And it's also in the middle of a huge park. And the park of Chambord, you can visit it as well. It's bigger than Paris.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
did you show Chenonceau?
No, I don't have Chenonceau on those slides, but Chenonceau is terrific too.
I like it because it's small. I could live there.
Yeah, this is a beautiful one too. Château de Sully.
Oh, that's pretty too.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So here you go. And the Loire, it's really, it's the last wild river in Europe. There are no dams, no controlling. It's very wild. It's preserved. People have fought very hard back in the 1970s to preserve the Loire River. So it's a beautiful place. It's like a quiet. Tranquille. La force tranquille.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So,
And I'm
Yes.
just
A little bit about the rosé that we're having tonight.
Yeah.
You said it was. Oh, look, I love this. I
Yeah.
want to be there right now.
so just this picture to illustrate,
Yeah.
that's
I know.
what you have in your glass tonight. That's exactly what you could get in Paris at this kind of bistro
Yeah.
cafe, a little bit glass of red or rosé from the Loire Valley.
And
So
that's the
that's
good
really
thing
the
about.
idea.
I mean, you could be in Paris, the big city of Paris, and yet you're sitting at a little place like this, and you can get this quality wine.
Exactly.
These wines that are just so interesting and unique and affordable. While you're sitting in the most expensive city in the world.
I know, that's fascinating. These, the Petit Bourgeois, the Rosé of Pinot Noir we have for 15, which is line item because the Cabernet Franc is also 15, which we'll get to that, but $15
Yeah, so
a bottle.
these are the three that we carry most of the time. So the Petit, is that still called Petit?
Petit Bourgeois, yeah, Petit Bourgeois, yeah.
Is it Petit?
No, just Petit Bourgeois. And I just wanted to show you the grapes here. So this is a classic grape of Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
So again, in Sancerre, we have Sauvignon Blanc. You see it on the previous slide.
Yes,
With the
perfect.
golden grapes, very classic of ripe Sauvignon Blanc. And the Pinot Noir, which are smaller berries, usually, lower type of yields. And of course, an iconic varietal from France. But what's very interesting when you think about Pinot Noir, it's probably one of the most famous grape in the world, and surely from France with Burgundy and
Right.
of course producing the most amazing Pinot Noir in the world. However, there's only so much rosé Pinot Noir from France produced.
I know, that's why I feel like there's never, I mean, like when I came back, when I would come back, I would be like, I can never find a rosé. I don't want to say from Sancerre, but from that general area. It was just not very easy to find. That was before I opened the wine store. Now I know that I can find it, but I mean, you don't see a lot of it.
Yeah, so there's a few reasons for that. So first of all, again, Pinot Noir doesn't produce a lot of yields, and you don't find Pinot Noir in many places in France. It's mostly Burgundy, of course, the Loire Valley, and then of course Champagne. But Champagne, it's sparkling. It's
they keep it
sparkling,
for their bubbly.
Exactly. But outside of Burgundy, Sancerre and a few other places in the Loire Valley are the only place to make Pinot Noir. And then rosé Pinot Noir, it's even rarer,
Right.
And then what happened is that most of the red and the rosé Pinot Noir from Sancerre or things like Petit Bourgeois, they stay in France.
Right.
They are drunk in France. I mean, it's $15 here in the US. You see the quality of the wine for that price.
Yeah.
French people, they put their hands on it, first before we can export it. It's very popular because from Sancerre, Paris is the #1 export market. It's 2 hours drive. So it's easy to sell all those wines in Paris. And that's why historically, the rosé wines from Sancerre and things like Petit Bourgeois, they have been sold a lot to Paris.
And we're so lucky to be able to have, we are to be able to have them here. So if you find them, I know there's people watching not just in Pensacola. So if you can find them or ask your local wine merchant wherever you are, ask them for these wines because they're pretty rare, but they're awesome and affordable. If you're in Pensacola, of course, you could come here.
Absolutely.
But so.
All right, so moving to the Cabernet Franc now.
So honestly, like I said, my first story was when I first came. It was Gerard and Marianne who run the language school in Sancerre.
Yes.
So I was staying at their place, and they were like, here, try this red from the Loire. It's a Cab Franc. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And so I thought all the Loire reds from Loire were Cab Francs. So wrong. But tell us a little bit about the this one.
Yeah, of course. So when it comes to red wines in the Loire Valley, you are right, Charlotte. Cabernet Franc is the king, of the Loire Valley varietals, and it's mostly produced grown for red wines.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back quickly on the map to show you exactly what is the story behind the Cabernet Franc in the Loire Valley, and of course the story for this Cabernet Franc we are tasting tonight.
And where is this one? Where is this Henri Bourgeois Cab Franc grown?
So that's the magic of it. That's the secret.
Oh, it's a secret.
No, it's not for you.
It's not for me.
Not for you. We're gonna reveal the secret tonight. So, do you guys see the map?
Yeah.
So Cabernet Franc is produced mostly in Anjou and Touraine, those two sub-regions here.
Okay.
And there are actually several appellations that specialized in Cabernet Franc. So Saumur Champigny right here, Saint-Nicolas de Bourgueil, Chinon, of course, probably the most famous.
We all know Chinon.
Exactly.
Well, we might not all know Chinon, but you should.
So all those appellations, produce Cabernet Franc, 100% Cabernet Franc wine, and they're delicious. However, they are very typical of French reds from the Loire Valley. So they are very different from the Cabernet Franc you find here in the US, which are usually high in alcohol. And I always say, the Cab Franc Petit Bourgeois that we produce is a great place to start with French Cabernet Franc, because it has a lot of the fruit you want to get from a Cabernet Franc, and the floral notes also that are usually around those violet, those blackberry type of aromatics. But it does not have what I would call the terroir of Chinon, of Saumur.
Barnyard?
Who can be a little barnyard, who can be a little harsh on the tannins. These are wines that you want to have a steak frit with it, And as much as I love personally my Chinon and everything, I understand that for some American people, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
People love it, or they just don't get what
I totally
wine
agree
about.
with that.
And what I love about the Petit Bourgeois Cab.
It's
Sorry, go ahead.
So Cab Franc, to me, I didn't think I liked it because when I first tried it, I don't know what, 20 years ago or whatever it was, it did have that kind of barnyardy, old world, super old world kind of flavor. And with the domestic palate, like a lot of Americans have, myself included, it was just like, I didn't get it. Like you said, I didn't get it. I do think this one is kind of like marrying the two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very.
It's done on purpose. It's really, we want an invitation, an introduction to the Loire Valley. And it's, here in the US, we could say it's user friendly. It's a great place to start with Cab Franc. So one of the reasons is the location, the terroir, because this is 100% Cab Franc, but it does not come from, all those Cab Franc appellation.
Oh.
It actually comes from the western side of the Loire River, So right outside of the Muscadet, here in green, do you see this little appellation called Coteaux d'Ancenis?
Yeah.
I mean, completely unknown appellation here in the US, completely out of the travel road. And in Coteaux d'Ancenis, they grow Gamay, Cab Franc, little bit of Pinot Noir. So mostly red wines, just outside of Muscadet, which is, as you know, mostly white wines. And what's very interesting is that the terroir in Coteaux d'Ancenis it's very much like the Muscadet. It's not chalky or limestone. It's not. It's volcanic rocks. Volcanic rocks with a little warmer climate. So when you grow Cabernet Franc over there, you get those very fruit-forward style of Cabernet Franc, but without the tannic structure, without the harshness. You get all the fruit, but with a very smooth feel. And that's what is very
That's
unique.
so interesting. That's really interesting. Because
And
So
the
is
other
this the
thing is
area
the
that they call
Jean-Christophe.
the Garden of France?
Yes.
Is this? Yes. So this is called the Garden of France,
It is the
where
garden.
all the fruit for the king was grown. Me and my research and reading, and so that is one of my little anecdotes that I took away was that it was the Garden of France.
I know, of course.
is.
That sounds beautiful.
Farming a great place to farm fruit, orchids, and of course, luckily for us, grapes.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the classic limestone of the Loire Valley that you find, of course, in Sancerre, but also in Vouvray and in Chinon. Calcaire, la craie, chalk.
I was gonna say I was gonna say something with the C, but I couldn't remember exactly.
Yeah. And you find that also, of course, in Champagne, and on the cliff of the Channel, on the channel between France and the UK. All the white cliffs. That's the chalk limestone of France. So that's why Cab Franc on limestone, has this tannic structure. But when you are in that small place of Coteaux d'Ancenis, right next to Muscadet, you have all the fruit. So it's not as big and structured as a Chinon, but I think it's easier to enjoy right away.
To me, it's light and round. It's very approachable and just fruity, but not.
Still got a lot of that old worldy kind of thing, and I
Yeah,
feel
me too.
like that. I feel like it would be an easy. So I feel like there's some whites that are just super easy to pair with if you can't figure out what you want to do. This is one of those reds that's easy to pair with food, like Pinot Noir. I mean, kind of, it's like if you're not sure what, and it's. I mean, obviously, if it's like
Absolutely.
if it was like a heavy food, you're gonna pair it with heavy wine. But if it's like one of those foods and you're kind of not sure, but you want,
If you're going to a
something-
dinner party and there could potentially be a charcuterie involved with a beautiful artisan, meats and cheeses and all the accoutrements.
Yeah.
But I totally could pair this with some heavier fowl or poultry dishes.
it could go
still.
either way, and that's
It could
the
go
thing.
either way. It definitely falls in that realm of very approachable from a food standpoint.
Yeah, for sure.
No, definitely. It's the quintessential style of Loire Valley red, nice acidity, a lot of fruit,
That's so
fantastic
crisp.
pairing, crisp,
Yeah.
affordable. Let's not forget that because it's also
That's right.
important.
So
It's
what
the
is our
value.
price on it?
15 is our price on
Our
this
price
as
on it
well.
is 15. So I mean,
And one also.
oh yeah.
One fun fact about Cab Franc. One fun fact about Cab Franc. I'm going to show you a little magic trick. So, so this is the Cab Franc that we are tasting tonight. I'm sorry, but the light. But that's the Cab Franc, and here we have the Sauvignon Blanc. So the two Petit Bourgeois that we do, Cab Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. So, what do you get when you mix those two varietals from the Loire Valley, original varietals from the Loire Valley? What do you get? Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc.
What if you mix them?
If you, in terms of grape varietal, in terms of hybrids, so.
I don't know, but
Are you going to tell us? I'm dying to know.
Do you want to guess? You get a Crottin Chavignol if you have the right answer.
A Cab Franc and
Cabernet Franc, Sauvignon Blanc. The grapes, you cross them. What do you get?
This. Why do you make it so hard? I should know this.
Take the first part of each varietal.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Sauvignon.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes.
I don't know what I know. So yes,
I know.
I was overthinking that.
No, but the most classic, when people, especially here in the US, talk about cabs, they refer to Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc, which you also find, of course, in Bordeaux. Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc, that's where it comes from. The Cabernet Sauvignon grape is, of course, a red grape, but it comes from the crossing between a red grape, Cabernet Franc, and a white grape, Sauvignon Blanc.
I love science. Oh my God, so cool.
Cabernet Sauvignon. So every time you sell, an expensive Napa Cabernet in Pensacola, we get 10% in the Loire Valley.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's a super cool lesson that we all just learned. That
clearly I had no idea.
I was like, gosh, it's been so great, Laurent. I know you've got to move along because you've got somewhere to be. We could talk to you all night.
I know. I would love to talk to you also. Of course, more.
Will you come to this? Will you come to Pensacola? Because you're not far.
No.
So now things I think are opening up. So let's please plan a in the courtyard trip and a an Henri Bourgeois wine tasting in the courtyard, and
yes,
everybody that's this local can come and meet you in person.
No, thank you. And Charlotte and Jess, I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank you. Not just, obviously you're supporting our winery and with the sales, and you're supporting me directly, but just wanted to thank you for having done all those virtual tasting in this, very complicated and challenging time that was, 2020 until today. We are still, in a challenging time.
Thank you.
And wine is a lot about brings the best in humanity. And wine is about sharing and caring.
We're all together in this.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Now you're back. You're back. So I wanted to thank you for that. For having done those 50 live stream with different people from all over the world, sharing their passion and enabling us for an hour to think about something else and sharing great wines.
I appreciate you bringing that up because you were so right I know.
Well said. Really well said.
Very well
Wine
said.
is about the human experience, and one of the first things that I learned when we started doing these, and I said, God, I'm just so fascinated by the stories and the families behind these wines and like the history, and just knowing that these winemakers are families, are generations of families that are moving beautiful product that they're producing with their hands and their blood, sweat, and tears. And so it's been a wonderful experience. And just you said something earlier, the Sancerre comment that you said. will you please say that again? All Sauvignon Blanc.
So all the Sancerre are Sauvignon Blanc,
Yes.
but all the Sauvignon Blanc are not
Not
Sancerre.
Sancerre.
Yeah.
That's a
So I had never heard that quote before, that
Yes.
statement before, until I met you last year on our virtual broadcast.
Yeah.
And that truly stuck with me from an education standpoint. So I just want to let you know that statement, and in the inverse of that statement was amazing
Yeah.
and palatable
Thank
for
you.
me, and helped
Exactly.
me really approach selling Sauvignon Blanc to our customers appropriately. So I loved understanding that little, that little like coup d'etat.
Yes.
Thank you,
yes.
Jess. Thank you, Jess.
Yes.
And it makes sense too. And
Makes
one
sense.
last word, I just wanted to tell Michael that he looks really good with his mousquetaire, facial and style. Really look good on you, D'Artagnan. So
D'Artagnan, that's right.
D'Artagnan is looks great.
My favorite producer of duck sausage in America, out of New York City. So I'll take that. Or
I did. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Michael. Michel.
I'll take D'Artagnan because D'Artagnan is a great producer of French specialties.
He looks like he's
Yes.
so muted.
And I'm sure you've heard of them.
The foie gras, yes. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you, Laurent. Have a
Laurent,
wonderful
and we'll see
day.
you next time in Pensacola.
Right.
And by the way, you've got a lot of good comments on the comments. Carmel said, awesome guest, very fun and informative. Pensacola
From
and Atlanta are
Atlanta,
quite,
yes.
quick
The
right
hat,
away.
too.
Thank you.
The hat.
We'll see you here next time.
Yes.
So au revoir and
Au revoir, santé. À bientôt.
All right, so Michael Fix, I have some things to
You're
say.
muted, dude.
We shall maybe talk about next week soon. But first, I want to say that this is the last virtual wine tasting for Michael Fix, because he's not going to be here next week, and it's our last wine.
It's our
virtual-
last scheduled
our
wine
last-
tasting.
It's our
so
last schedule, so I don't want to make it sound too
We're
dramatic.
gonna pull
I don't
some
want
more
to
out
sound
of you.
too dramatic and make it sad. But next week is our last scheduled virtual wine tasting, and Michael won't be here. So over the last year, he has done so much for us. Like literally at the very beginning of this whole pandemic.
An exact year ago.
I know, it's crazy.
Realistically.
I said, hey, let's do this. And he jumped right on board. And without a beat, every week he's made these virtual wine tastings happen. And I couldn't have done it. I mean, I would have been struggling. And so I really appreciate everything that Michael's done.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be sad that this is our last one scheduled with him.
I'm gonna lean into the scheduled because I can't
Last one
accept
scheduled.
that it's gonna be our last one.
We hope that I'm going to be a little sad. I'm
At
happy
least
that
one a
we're
quarter.
going back to our regular scheduled program, but I'm also very sad that we're not doing these every week, because I really did enjoy them, and those were all because of Michael Fix.
Without a doubt.
So thank you.
Yeah, certainly. From the approach, the initial concept of let's do a virtual broadcast each week.
Yeah.
That way we can still share these incredible wines from these small, unique, and affordable winemakers all around the world. And
Yeah.
we've done it. We've hit everywhere from Argentina to Italy to France. We've had Julie Johnson. I mean, we had a pioneer from a female winemaker standpoint talk to us for an hour. And that was because of what you did. And so, you know, certainly our appreciation
It's
is
been
there.
it's
great.
helpful
Yeah.
to me for the whole last year.
Your boy Blue.
So what I will say is that we hope that we will continue to do these in some aspects for the people that are not here in Pensacola. If you are in Pensacola on April 1st, which is 2 weeks from today, Michael Fix will be here in person, and he will be doing our in-store wine tasting. So thank you.
Yes, so exciting. We are so excited for that.
Thank you. So let's talk about next week. We do have one more virtual wine tasting.
Yes.
Fix, will you tell us about the wines that we are doing next week?
So we have 2 fun wines. I think these are a great way to end in a way. You know, something that's really fun. We have a liter bottle of Brewer Valiner from Broadbent. We did Broadbent, I think it was Vino Verde last year, and did a few other wines. And also, their wines are very popular with a lot of the customers at the store and popular in some restaurants and things like that around town. So this brewer is great. It's a great option for somebody to grab. I think for instance, it's a liter of wine. You get a liter bottle for the same price as most 750s of Brewer Valiner. Maybe even less expensive than some you might see out there. And it's really fun. It's got a, you just pop it open and go to town. So it's a lot of fun, and it's delicious Brewer Valiner. And then from Austria, gotta mention that, of course.
Yes.
In case anybody's not familiar with where Brewer Valiner comes from.
That's right. And it's $14 a bottle, just in case you were wondering. $14 for a liter.
$14 per liter, which is 33% more wine than the 750 milliliter bottle. Just so you know, 33. I know a lot of people like the 33s and the 3s. That's like a lovely number for some people, so definitely get on that. And then the other bottle is a really fun Shiraz from Australia. So it's kind of fun. We're going to confuse people. The more if they drink the whole liter of Austrian wine, they're probably going to be calling this Australian wine. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a ton of color twister. We're going to call it Austria. It's going to be fun and
The Battle of the Aussies.
yeah, we'll just call them both.
I just came up with my newsletter title.
Thank you.
Which is a highly respected producer of Shiraz and other varietals from Australia. And we'll have Lisa Joffrey here from Broadbent, and they're one of the premier importers in the United States. One of the things we've mentioned as we've done a few of these tastings is look at the back of the bottle and see who the importers are of some of your favorite wines. You probably see Wineville a lot, right? You'll also see Broadbent. You'll see Kermit Lynch. You'll see Delaterra for things like the
Yeah.
whatever. The more you look at the back of the bottle, you will learn some things about the wine. Sometimes there's not a lot of information on the back of the bottle.
Sure.
Pay attention to who it says is imported. Because you might find yourself going back to some of those same bottles
Oh, yeah.
over and over again. That way you learn to trust an importer. And Broadbent is one of those importers that you absolutely must trust because, Michael and Bartholomew Broadbent, the Broadbent family, they have a history of being some of the most learned, serious, and
They're learned doctors.
Oh, yeah.
also learned doctors now. But discerning, I think is what I was really aiming for there, and that's really important because if they weren't importers, for their whole entire life as a family, and so now you have really some people who care a lot about wine, and they don't put their stamp on something on it unless
Right.
they really care. Chateau Muzar, for instance, they import from Lebanon.
Lebanon.
They import a lot of incredible wines, and so I think it was really fun that we did something that's classic for them, their brewer, and then something that maybe people don't know is that they also import wines from
Yeah.
Australia and South Africa and places like that. So, and Lisa will have a ton of information. She's one of the main people on the East Coast for Broadbent, and she knows so much. And she was here we were talking about a year ago this time, right? She was just here in February of 2020 in 38. We did a tasting out there for some people, and that was the last time she was in Florida, I think. So it's really fun to bring her back around again. She wasn't here in Florida in March, but it's almost a year. So it's really fun that she can kind of remember those good times. So
I know. Don't we all?
Definitely.
and she's awesome. She knows, she's got an impeccable amount of knowledge. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I wish I was here with you. I'll be at a wine dinner.
I know. We're so sad that you won't be here.
But excited we'll have you on the 1st.
But-
So that will be fun. April 1st, in store, 5 to 7 p.m. is our in-store live wine tasting. Oh my gosh, so exciting.
Yeah, but you guys behave. Otherwise, we'll have to close it down again. It's all on you.
That's right.
But-
Ones and twos. I'll be on the
Yep. So, and the other thing, we will have some live music. So when we get back to our regular wine tastings, we do every third Thursday we have live music. So Fred Dumoulin is going to be joining us this month on the 15th. So it's going to be tax day. So when you're all like, oh Lord, I paid my taxes and I just want to go out, come here on the 15th. We'll be drinking some wine in the courtyard and listen to some great music. So
I think if it works out, I'll try and put out a tentative schedule of what the month of April will look like for tastings, so that you can know when live music's going to be and what we're going to be sampling, or at least what's proposed on the calendar. That way, if all goes according to plan, we can have you back in store for the month, but at least communicate what our plans are moving forward for the month ahead. Yeah. And I think the only thing I was going to say is don't forget that Easter and Passover is right around the corner. Eastover, as we celebrated in our Jewish households growing up. Jewish.
Yeah, me too.
I love that. Eastover. If you need any of your Sabbath wines or any of your religious wines or whatever wines
order them now. We're gonna we will be getting in Galil, which is a kosher wine from Israel in this week coming up. So if you need your Galil, it's a Cabernet from Israel. It's delicious. So that will be coming in this week coming up.
This would be outstanding with lamb too. If I was to do an Easter box for you, this would be in it. Yeah. So if you want an Easter box, I'll be happy to put it together. All right. I think that's all we got this week, folks. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.